Three.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to August Tech News. We're once again joined by Michael K, Hamid Reza, Michael Z, myself. We talk about tech news of the month. Michael K, can you take us away?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the introduction, Michael Z. Okay, first and foremost, the first and biggest thing is actually the Microsoft SharePoint breach. Why was this the number one thing on our list? Well, this also gives us a little break from AI, but at the same time, because as companies migrate from off-prem to on the cloud, this is actually becoming a bigger and bigger issue where basically customers and clients don't have full control of their entire database. And this is at the mercy of companies where now you're relying on their firmware, their security patches, and their updates to keep you safe. So something that typically would reside in-house, especially for data where it's stored on SharePoint, anything that you share within OneDrive even. And particularly with these two breaches, the two CVEs here, it was done through spoofing and through RCE or remote code execution. And essentially what the attackers did, they gained unauthorized access and they ran a web shell script, and that basically gave them elevated access to their systems to allow them to go through people's files, data. SQL database is probably the biggest one. But the thankful thing about this one is Microsoft actually caught this one early. Microsoft Defender. I know as much as everyone makes fun of Microsoft Defender sometimes, they actually did their job here through all the years that they've been gathering the data from. And they actually caught this breach before there was any sort of serious damage done to it. And originally they were going to go as far as the attackers were going to go as far as encrypting the data. So that would lead to ransomware. But Microsoft caught it early and remitigated the attack. And yeah, and even though they faced public flashback on this, at the bare bone minimum, at least we know that the Microsoft Defender with the 365 actually did its job here and caught the attack as it's supposed to. After all these years spending time living on people's computers and capturing people's data, learning all these different behaviors here.
Interesting. I will give it a point. As a person in the IT industry, I saw this particular breach, and I remember that it caused a lot of issues with SharePoint configurations. But yeah, thank you for the interesting input. All right.
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, SharePoint's a big thing, especially with companies moving to the cloud now. And speaking of the cloud, as we talk about the cloud, and obviously with tech nowadays, we can't get away from AI. So Meta and Google actually signed a massive AI deal to collaborate together. Now, what was in the details? Nobody knows the nitty gritty, but they signed a 6-year contract, essentially expanding their AI data center infrastructure. So what that means is that they're basically finding ways to build the cloud infra, but at the same time, they're also looking for solutions to store your data and train the LLM models and all that good stuff there. But at the same time, Meta actually also publicly announced that they will continue using AWS and Microsoft Azure services in parallel to the Google AI data center. And not only that, but at the same time, during this announcement, Alphabet, so the parent company of Google, the stock rose by 2.4%, and Meta actually rose by 2.1%. So even though a lot of people are saying this is the AI bubble becoming the .com bubble, at the same time, it's companies are making money, shares are going up, investors are making money. So at the same time, it really doesn't scream bubble to me because there's still being a lot of money being driven into this. We're talking billions, if not almost up to $1 trillion being spent and invested into this. If you add up all the investments that the big companies, the top blue chip companies have invested into AI, and then with the news that Meta is dropping 9-figure salaries and offers to bring on the best AI engineers in the world. So this doesn't really surprise me that companies are just signing deals left, right, and center to work in parallel with each other to basically build out and be the quote unquote leader in the AI industry here.
And I was going to say, as more of an input regarding this, and especially because of all three of us being in the industry, it definitely shows a good shift. Challenging, of course, but I think it's a good shift where a lot of companies want to move to cloud and host most of their infrastructure in cloud. And I think this gets away with a bigger hurdle where most of the companies out there they're so hesitant about if they want to move to cloud, if they want to host in cloud. And I think this kind of investment shows that the industry is ready for that sort of transition.
For sure.
Yeah.
And yeah. And
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead, Hemi.
Yeah, that's I think is amazing because Meta knows about the Google information, like they have a huge information, and then they're now investing on a Google Cloud. So that's, I think, is very, very um, good contract that you see that Meta is having deal with AWS and Azure as well. So I think it's the future, maybe um, as a little through the Google rather than AWS and Azure. I see a lot of information coming from the Google Cloud, like because of their AI technology. Now, if you look at the next news, also is coming with the Google Pixel 10 that has a lots of feature, amazing feature that's coming to the market in August. So they unveiled this phone, and I just got some information from the Google website. Just compare the Pixel 8 Pro, 9 Pro, and 10 Pro. You see the price is the same. Like if you if you check the price on the I'm on the Google store actually here, and everything is the same. Like between 9 and 10 Pro, you see that most of the features are the same until you reach to here. Actually, the processor maybe is different, a little different, but you reach to here, some features, some AI feature that listed here, Google AI. You see that here, there is like a feature listed as a magic queue. So that's like a kind of AI technology when you want to answer some messages. For example, your friends asking that, can you book this restaurant for me? And automatically it detects that restaurant information and like give you more like a phone number and the link that you need to book that um, for your friends. Or a lot of things that, for example, some people asking through the message, it can answer through the magic queue. Circle to search, I think we have seen this feature before. And Live Translate also, I think those people, they have like Android operating system. They're familiar with this feature. Like if you have like a TV that's like in different language, it can translate it to English or other languages. So
For
these
sure.
are like features that we see on the Pixel 10 Pro, and the rest of that I check on the Google website is the same as Pixel 9.
Yeah.
Um,
And on the
yeah,
topic of Google, at the same time, it's like the search results as well has gotten a lot smarter. So, for example, if you use any form of maps in your navigation system, like GPS, like for example, Google Maps or even Waze, sometimes I notice that even like for example, if I'm going from work from my office to home, it will know roughly what time I'm leaving the office, and it will like let me know 5 minutes before I leave the office. Here's the traffic to home, and here's how long it's going to take. Do you need to take an alternative route? So even alongside the Google Pixel and Reveal, it's also using other software as well to not just to basically feed into the magic queue there as well. So they're just all working off of one ecosystem, one gigantic database there.
mm,
And I was going to add on top of what we know about Google, especially the new AI model Gemini. When I initially started using it, when you were comparing it, when you would compare it to, let's say, ChatGPT, it wasn't that competitive, I would say, or even Copilot, to be honest. But with the shift that we've seen in the last year and a half, with the release of DeepSeek, an AI model that's basically free for use, you can definitely see the massive jump that Google has made to not only use the information they've got in the background, but also training their AI model to be significantly better. And that's a great transition. That's a great move, I think, for the industry. And I'd really love to see this for in the Apple side as well. But yeah, this is very interesting.
yeah. Then the next one is again AI technology that you know that these days a lot of companies focusing more on AI, how to use the AI in different gadgets or different tools. So this glasses is like we have seen in on the movies that, for example, some heroes that they are using some glasses to guide them, for example, get some information. So this is like a future of a glasses that when you're wearing these glasses give you some information when you reach to some location or when you're, for example, uh, wants to know about some people behavior, it gives you some more information. It's saying that 10x is smarter than the other glasses that we have in the market, because Facebook also had the glasses 2 years ago, like recording some images and then shifted to 360 images. But this is like AI glasses, first AI glasses that we have seen in the market.
Yeah, for sure. And I think not only that, but with the AI glasses, I think it's also a competitor for Meta, and it's also its Oculus Rift headset. So, for example, Apple with its sorry, quick reminder, it was Apple with its Vision Pro.
Vision
I
Pro.
think those would create a competition for those guys as well. Now, because not only are they integrating into the same system, but then it also depends on how the usability on day to day, right? Like reality is how much you're going to use it, right? Just like the Apple smartwatches, right? You got to charge them once a day, right? It's very easy to take off and charge, right? But now if they make it complicated to charge, to put on, to set up, right? How that is going to drive revenue, product, and impact is also going to be a very big deciding factor there.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
And the
This
next
is
one is Madad's.
Yeah, this
Um,
is going to be mine. So, Intel in US, this was a very massive deal. Seeing this take place. So basically, they're planning to do keep their manufacturing in US. They're basically looking at expanding what they've already done. Now, what we've seen in the political shift aside, you can definitely appreciate a little bit of this because most of the devices we use, AI aside, they use processors to process that information. And I think this move for Intel is definitely the move to make. I'm not sure about the U.S. government, but I feel like Intel has definitely to step to the right direction, and this will probably help them improve the technologies that they've had, keep it domestic in U.S., and I'm assuming at least help U.S. Grow in the tech sector, which is, I think, for me personally, is a welcome sign.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Intel right now at this time, especially with competition being so fierce with AI, I think they could really use that boost more so because when they released the 13th and the 14th gen Intel chip, it was known to have a lot of issues like frying motherboards, CPU pins, CPUs itself. So
Yep.
right now, this would be a very good deal for. It's like a good leg for Intel to bounce back and kind of
Right.
really show us what they got. And at the end of the day, Intel's also known to be a gaming chip manufacturer. So, for example, if you compare like an Intel and AMD CPU, AMD definitely runs productivity better because of the better core and processor, but
Right.
Intel pushes each core higher. So, meaning that you can run games that are, especially AAA title games that are, require a lot of CPU power at much better and higher FPS there in comparison to AMD CPU.
True. That's true.
yeah, I think we are at
Perfect.
the end of this month's news. Madad, do you want to add anything at the end?
I really appreciate everybody who's been watching this. We're planning to make more of these every month, and I think I look forward to the next one. Hopefully, be able to share more insight.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.